It's not a bird, it's not a plane, it's Superhero Slate. It's a weekly podcast where we talk about everything that's great, like movies, TV, superheroes. It's Superhero Slate. Oh, yeah.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Superhero Slate, the show where we run down the latest superhero entertainment news.
We love TV, movies, and superheroes, so let's talk it all out.
My name is Chris.
And my name's Mike.
And this week, we're breaking into some DC rumors. Mike, we got quite a bit, actually, of DC news for once on this rumor thread. And I'm gonna go ahead and make a prediction here before we even get into these topics. By the time this, probably people are listening to this on Monday morning, James Gunn will have responded to each one of these rumors on thread somehow.
I was wondering where you're going with that. Yeah, you're probably not wrong.
Yeah, so we're gonna see, but we're gonna start. We got Clayface getting his own solo film, and some pretty talented power behind that. Possible Teen Titans, I think it's movie series members, whatever DC's gonna do with it. So live action Teen Titans members, and you're a Teen Titans fan, right? You know, I've never seen the show except for Teen Titans Go to the Movies. You know, one of my favorite animated films. The Authority team up movie is getting animated. It's going to be animated instead of live action, probably, and more.
The great part is Chris wasn't even being facetious. He wasn't even being sarcastic. Teen Titans Go to the Movie is one of the best animated movies. Definitely the year it came out.
Yeah.
One of the best. Hilarious. We should look up who the writers were. I feel like
I'll pull it up.
if I recall correctly, my brain wants to say it had like similar like peak crossover from like that not Rescue Rangers, or was it Rescue Rangers? No, the Chip and Dale movie, or at least it kind of feels similar in vibes.
So Michael Jelenic and Aaron Horvath. Aaron Horvath doesn't have a Wikipedia page. Michael Jelenic is best known for co-developing Teen Titans Go on the Cartoon Network. So, I mean, it really is just the team who actually was writing the show the whole time.
Oh,
wrote the movie.
Good for them. They were just like, hey, guess what? If you let us break out of this like 9-minute episode block, I'm gonna write you the best movie of all time. And it was really, really good.
And it's 2018. Like it's hard to think that was 6.5 years ago.
Oh my God, I cannot. Time is a flat circle.
Yeah.
Which is something I feel like we say a lot nowadays.
Yeah.
But in good news, I'm finally getting some more sleep as a parent.
Good.
Last night it was astonishing. It's the first time our 4-month-old slept all through the night. And when I say through the night, I mean 12 hours this kid slept, which is amazing. It doesn't mean I slept for 12 hours.
Right.
It means this kid did, but it was great. So I feel like we got a lot of energy going into the show.
That's great.
We're already talking about Teen Titans, and we're kind of making fun of James Gunn, which is, I feel like, par for the course for us.
This is actually, we are in our 501st episode. We are in the back half. We're closer to 1,000 episodes than we were last week. So that's really fun. And I also reached out to the winner on YouTube for that. I don't remember the screen name right now. I've reached out. If I haven't heard from them, I'm going to go back and pull somebody else for the winner for the Marvel United last week. So I have reached out to the YouTube winner, or the winner who was on YouTube out of Everyone Interacts. If not, I'll be reaching back out here this week. Just go down the list until someone gets back to me. So thank you guys for doing that. But it is also Thanksgiving week, Mike. That means a short week for those here in the U.S. For work. Then you get to go dream. I've been dreaming about my Thanksgiving plate for several days now. Like deviled eggs, mashed potatoes, turkey gravy. It's all coming to me. I'm bulking up for winter, and I'm excited for it.
And every year in the group chat, we're always talking about our turkeys. And I decided last year, after my turkey was almost ruined, basically, I thought I did everything to the turkey, and it sucked. It didn't turn out well. It was like way too salty, even though I've brined turkey like a dozen times before. So I was like, you know what? I'm tired of this nonsense. I was like so fed up last year. I was like, I'm not even making turkey next year. I'm just making chicken because I think it tastes better anyway. Just any random chicken thigh that I make throughout the week. So talked myself down, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna get a pre-made turkey. And I was really close. I was really close to getting the Popeyes turkey. but I thought it was $100, and I was almost willing to spend the 100. But I think if I recall, it might be a little bit more than that. But
Oh my gosh.
either way, $100. That's a lot
wild
for
man.
something. Yeah, and it's not even. It's not like it's warm. Like you go to Popeyes on Thanksgiving and they just give you hot turkey. No, you have to heat it.
Yeah.
So the convenience of kind of like getting something out of your oven is not even there. So I was like, okay, I'm going to talk myself down a little bit more. And there's like a local grocery store in the area that they do like pre-made Thanksgiving dinner stuff too. And I was like, oh, I could just get a turkey there. And that turkey was like $75. I was like, okay, we're getting a little bit lower, but
right.
this still seems a little bit crazy. But of course, my favorite place comes through. That's Costco. They have fully smoked turkeys, vacuum sealed, which is pretty crazy to look at, a fully cooked vacuum sealed turkey for $35.
Wow.
And also bonus, it's really hard to find smaller turkeys, like, because they're just giving these things away. Like, what is it, like a nickel a pound now or something for a turkey?
Yeah.
Like, you just throw $5 at them and they'll give you like a 30-pound bird. But like, we never eat that much turkey. So we've always been looking for the elusive, like, 9-pound bird, anything under double digits, and we found one at Costco. It's like a 10-pound vacuum sealed pre-cooked bird. I'm like, this is gonna be awesome. So all I have to do is throw this dude in the oven for like, I don't know, like an hour, 30 minutes, with a little bit of broth, and I'm like, we're good to go. So I don't have to do nothing with this turkey, and I'm excited.
And correct me if I'm wrong. Your wife's a vegetarian, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So it's mostly just you working on this turkey.
Yes,
as
but she goes all in on entertaining for Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Okay.
So there must be a turkey to present.
Well, of course. I'm just sitting here thinking, like, we have a 3-pound turkey because it fits in my air fryer, which is like one of the rotisserie air fryers, like perfectly.
Oh, you didn't find a 3-pound turkey? It's like a part of a turkey, right?
No, it's like turkey meat. Like, I guess it's not like it's not a baby turkey. No, it's like 3 pounds of turkey meat.
I'm guessing, is it like a full breast or something?
Yeah, it's a lot. The first time we got it, it was like half light, half dark, like 2 of them pressed together. But we've only got the light going so far. But it's like a 3-pound one you get at Meijer, and we just put the rod through it, put it in the air fryer after brining it. It cooks up in about an hour and a half on that thing, and it's fantastic. It's great for just 2 of us to eat on because we don't host, and if we go somewhere we're not bringing turkey because we have to travel an hour plus. So it's one of my favorite things to do is air fry the turkey like on like Friday. Just let it sit in the brine, like put it in Wednesday, let it brine while we're out of town on Thursday, cook it on Friday for lunch, and I'm good to go. But
hey, and if you're somebody out there looking for a new air fryer, I just bought one recently because we wanted to upgrade in size a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
We had a little small, like 2, I think they measure them in quarts if I remember right. We had a little 2-quart air fryer, a little baby that sits on our counter that can't quite handle the amount of tater tots that we want to make.
Right.
So we upgraded. I found a 4-quart air fryer, and right now it's like Black Friday week, or however they want to determine the sale of Black Friday, which used to be literally in the name one day, but now it's like a nebulous zone of time on Amazon. But they're selling air fryers like hotcakes right now.
Yeah, and things you can make with air fryers, hotcakes. Let's not
sure.
any words here. I think so I don't have you have the Basque air fryer. We don't have that. Like I said, it's like an oven, like a small oven that has the air fryer thing too, which I just love the rotisserie part of it. I'm like I don't use this for anything else any other time of the year, but come Thanksgiving and Christmas, I'm skewering this turkey and just letting it roll in this thing. And it's pretty great. So I'm excited for Thanksgiving week. And also, one of my favorite things about Thanksgiving are Thanksgiving movies, Mike. There are very few of them. Most of them are Christmas movies. People have already started that. But I just want to remind people, one of my favorite movies, actually 2 of these are my favorite movies. One, Spider-Man #1 is set during Thanksgiving. I don't know if you remember that or not. Because they have the Thanksgiving parade, and then they also go like to Aunt May's to have Thanksgiving dinner with the Osborns and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, and like, is that the one where like Peter comes into dinner and like blood's dripping off of him, or is that a different scene?
Yeah. The bike messenger clipped him, right? He tells that to Norman Osborn, and he realizes that they were fighting. So Spider-Man 2002 is a Thanksgiving movie. So if you want to pot that on and impress people with that knowledge, and then the other one, which is one of my favorite films, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Like it is a movie people think, oh, they're trying to get home for Christmas. They're not. He's trying to get home in time for Thanksgiving. which is a John Hughes movie, again starring Steve Martin and John Candy, and it just two unlikely dudes who have to travel together, and it's just I just love that movie. It's so funny. The little scenes, it's just a bunch of little scenes kind of pieced together right on this travel journey. So I'm very excited to put those on. Hell, I might even put it on after we get off the show, Mike. Well, my wife has already got the Christmas tree up, so I got nothing else to do. So
it wouldn't be an episode of Superhero Slate before Thanksgiving if Chris didn't evangelize planes, trains, and automobiles. Right. I think you do. I think you're doing the good service every year for the folks out there. Yep. We don't really watch it all that much. For some reason, I don't know why. Love John Hughes. We just didn't grow up watching this movie in my household. So every year my wife wants to watch it though. So we're trying to make it more of a tradition.
Yeah, it's great. But then also, you got a new streaming, I guess a second season of streaming show here, or maybe have you watched the first season before this, or is this your first time?
No, I haven't. Okay. We have just reignited our Apple Plus subscription. We unchurned, if you will, because a new season of Shrinking has started to air. And of course, the most economical thing I could have done is just wait for the season to finish and then just buy 1 month of Apple Plus and then just watch all of it in like a weekend, because seasons for comedies in particular are usually pretty short and you can kind of just binge them all in one day or over a couple of days. But we got it up and running. We're watching it week by week. And there's another show on there that I've only heard good things about, and I didn't know a whole lot about it. And it's a show called Silo, which I think either just started airing its second season or it finished, or it's out there.
2 episodes into its second season so far.
Gotcha. So we're working our way through the first season, and I will let you know, the audience, about as much as I knew about the show before I got into it. Because it's a show shrouded in mystery. It's like the whole driver of the show is mystery. And it's just about this colony of 10,000 humans that live in this gigantic underground silo that just has like tons of levels, and each level is kind of like specialized in a different way. There's like the people that live in the top, people that live in the middle and the bottom. There's like a giant engine that runs the whole thing. It kind of feels, it's hard not to think about either the Fallout video game series or the TV show when watching this, even though Silo came out before, because it's very similar. Like, you're basically watching vault dwellers that are kind of living in this kind of stunted version of time where you can tell whenever this silo was built, that's kind of where their technology kind of capped out, and they're kind of also living in kind of a mid-century kind of architectural design era as well. But nobody in the silo knows why they are living in it, because they're a couple generations into the silo as humans, and a lot of their history has been erased or deleted because they have kind of rudimentary form of computers. So it's all about trying to dig up what happened in the past and what is outside, because they're not allowed to go outside. So it's really interesting. It's fun getting into like a mystery drama. We haven't really been in one in a while. And I didn't know it was based on a book or a book series. I don't know. I don't want to know, because like I said, when you get into like something mysterious like this, I don't want to go on Google. I don't want to get spoiled. I don't want to know, it's a 12 book series and the lore goes on forever and the show could go on forever, or it's only one single book, so you're probably only looking at like 2 or 3 seasons or so. I don't know anything, so it's great. But we're working our way through it, and it's pretty fun. So I could highly recommend it because it's very expensive. This is definitely one of those Apple Plus shows where they're just like, hey, we don't need to churn a profit here at Apple Plus. We just need people to buy more MacBooks or something. So, and they just get this service for free whenever they buy a new Apple hardware. But I'd go check it out. Yeah. It's expensive and it looks great.
Yeah. And it's I know I've not watched the show, but it's on my you probably know it's on Crystalix as well for me to go through. But it stars Rebecca Ferguson from the Mission Impossible movies and most recently the Dune.
That's where she's from. I kept looking at her like, where are you from?
Yeah, no, love Rebecca Ferguson. I think she does great. Rashida Jones is in it as well, And most recently, I know for season 2, they've got Steve Zahn to be in season 2 as well. So I've only heard good things. And then for those who are interested in the production, the duo of Bert and Bertie directed 4 episodes of season 2. Mike.
Yeah,
So.
I just noticed their credit on one of the episodes we watched last night, and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
Bert and Bertie. I remember them from like some Marvel streaming shows, right?
Hold on, I'm gonna pull up their stuff here. Hawkeye, yeah, they did 3 of the Hawkeye episodes.
Yeah, I was like, they look familiar.
Yeah.
Or if not, maybe a Star Wars or something.
Yeah, it was
Something
Hawkeye, and Our Flag Means Death. If you watch that as well.
Yeah, it's great.
So yeah. So I mean, again, just to reiterate, there's talent and stuff behind this, money behind the show, and I've only heard good things. So awesome. For myself, Mike, I was able to. My wife bought tickets. She doesn't buy movie tickets very often, but she's bought 3 sets of movie tickets this week. And one of them was to see Wicked Part 1, which I don't know if people know this. It is a Part 1. It is a 2-part movie thing, and they really removed the Part 1 early on in the marketing for this material, Mike. So for those of you who might want to go see Wicked, it is not the full play. It is just Act 1 of the play. The second act will come out next year for this. And I know, Mike, you guys you're a musical loving house as well. You've seen Wicked, correct? The play?
No, I haven't. The only thing I know about it is it's this musical that's just been around, it feels like, for as long as I'm alive. It's kind of one of those things where I've been exposed to basically parody and jokes of it for so long. Like, oh, it could be like The Simpsons go to New York and they make some sort of joke about seeing Wicked or something like that. My wife is very polarized against it because she had an ex-boyfriend back in the day that forced her to listen to the soundtrack. And that relationship didn't end well anyway. So now she's kind of like jaded against the music because she was made to listen to it against her will. Yeah. So it's okay. But well, I've been hearing great things about the movie though. So it seems like I'm going to have to watch it eventually or I'm going to be out of the loop.
Well, so a couple things. First and foremost, Wicked, it was a book first in 1995, became a play in 2003, I think. It's like the 4th, not longest running, but has the most number of shows ever. The 4th most number of shows ever for a play is Wicked on Broadway. So that's why, obviously, it has breached the zeitgeist. And it tells essentially a, quote, revisionist history of the Wizard of Oz, right? The history of the Wicked Witch and the Good Witch Glinda in this, and tells like how they grew up. They knew each other. They went to the school together, and it's musical. And I saw the play recently for the first time like 2 years ago. I had no idea anything about this. This is outside of the Chris zeitgeist. I knew it existed. Like you, had no idea that the song "Defying Gravity" was part of this, or the song "Popular" was part of this. I just knew those songs existed. So finally watched Wicked as a play. Got to see this. Interesting thing about this, like we talk about musicals that become filmed, like Hamilton, right? They filmed the original cast of Hamilton, put on Disney Plus. You're seeing the play as a play. This is a musical turned into a movie, and it is like a 1-for-1 shot of watching the play. It doesn't take any artistic liberties. It's not like on a play stage, like you get a lot more close-ups and zoom-ins and stuff, but like there's no deviation from the play at all in this. Like they really stick to the original story for this part 1, almost like 1-for-1, which I think is like a loss for me, because I'm like, oh, I saw the play, I could predict all of this. I wish they would have taken a bigger swing and did some more with this first part. But now, mind you, they've not marketed the second part. For those who may not know this, maybe part 2, the second act takes place literally from the other side of the Wizard of Oz movie. So like from the witch's like point of view, and like everything else going on in Oz as a whole. So
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, so I'm excited to see maybe what kind of swings they take with that. But I had a good time. It's like not one of those movies where I was looking at my clock, watch the whole time. The singing's great. Ariana Grande plays Glinda in this. I do not know the name of the lady who plays Elphaba, the Green Witch, but like it was a good time. So Mike, for someone who enjoys, I know you don't mind musicals, you don't mind plays. So like this is going to be something I think you will watch along the way.
I don't, but I've been hearing something recently about the theater going experience where this is one of those things where you said this musical has been around since the early 2000s, which means that the music is ingrained in so many people's brains. And I guess they've been putting out warnings of saying like, hey, these are like early screenings. A lot of people haven't seen this movie yet. Please don't sing along to the movie. You're going to ruin it for people. We're going to have special sing-along screenings of this movie. This is not one where you're going to sing. So don't do that. And I'm like, oh my God, yeah, that would drive me crazy.
You were the third person to tell me that. And I've not seen that at all personally. And they didn't do anything in the theater. And nobody sang. It was a packed. We went actually like at 3 p.m. on a Friday. And it was like a packed movie experience. And nobody sang the whole time. It was a good time.
Well, good.
So, but someone told me that like how many people were singing. I'm like, nobody's sang. Like, is that something happening? And apparently it is happening. So, but for those people who are interested or maybe curious, Wicked was a great time. And but we talked about. I don't know. Did we say it on air? It's Wicked, Moana, and Gladiator week. So everyone's probably going to be in the movie theaters this week at some point to see these movies. We have Moana tickets for Tuesday. That's one of the other sets of tickets my wife is buying. And I've only heard good things. So I'm excited to go in with my own opinion and kind of take a look at how, again, we've talked about how it was originally a series transformed into a movie, and what does that really look like at the end of the day for that. So. Got a good Thanksgiving week, Mike. But let's jump in here. Let's get into the news. First and foremost, if I said DC is the authority, would you know what the hell I was talking about?
No, I wouldn't.
Yeah, okay, perfect, great. And this is great. This is an example. Something we've talked about very, very frequently, something that people may not know. The authority is essentially the superhero pre-Justice League in James Gunn's DC universe, right? We have that one lady, the engineer, who's like metal and can do stuff. They have like a Night Owl or somebody and a couple other like Justice League based equivalents, but they exist in the DCU. I would liken them more from their series to like the Boys, like the Seven, but like not as like, I guess they're not corrupt. They're just more black ops. Like they'll get their hands dirty, kill people, stuff like that with their powers. And
what was the team? What was the team called that was in the Black Adam movie? Was that the something else, not the Authority?
The Justice Society.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. With Hawkman. Yeah. Right. Yeah. It's very, very, very easy to get confused with all these different names. But so the Authority, this movie of these superpowered people who exist in the DC universe and are kind of like a precursor to the Justice League, is apparently being reworked as an animated film. And I put this in. I think this is a good idea. Number one, it's based on fairly obscure characters. Mike, you didn't even know who the Authority was. And it's really kind of a weird naming convention for a group of people. I'm going to skip bullet points here. I also think it's going to be cheaper because every Authority member has like superpowers. And if they're like, we're not going to take a risk on the Authority. If you're doing animation, you can show off all their powers without having to film them and then, crunch the effects team to get them done in time for theaters. So I think it's a great idea. And also, I've heard, there's a lot of news about positive Creature Commandos feedback. So it's enforcing the idea of maybe, hey, we can do animation stuff in this DC universe and people will be responsive to it.
Yeah, I'm curious. There's got to be a lot of planning that goes into incorporating something animated, either series or feature, into your overall story, because the production time is so much longer and you can't pivot as much. If something needs to be added or, edited in a way, like, you can only edit what you've already drawn. So I would think if they're pivoting to something animated, they have an idea of how it's supposed to fit within their architecture of their big universe that they're telling. So, but I mean, I think Gunn can do it. He did a really good job with Guardians of kind of making these standalone stories that, they didn't really fit into the DCU. I mean, the MCU overall, really, except for maybe the first one when they had to, get the Power Stone out there and Ronan and Thanos. Once you get to the third one, like when I think of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, like that's kind of like its own standalone movie. Like there's the only thing that's really in there that's like lingering is like, it's a different Gamora, and that's about it. Right. So, if you kind of take that same storytelling mentality to like an animated series or movie, you know, maybe they can kind of keep themselves from having it start somewhere and end somewhere.
And I think you may tell me I'm wrong or agree. I don't know, but like, you know, an animated, you know, all these movies get storyboarded in animation. They can watch the completed stuff a lot quicker, right? The dailies, they're not adding effects in later to say, did this work or did this work? They're probably watching the movie more closely as they make it in animation because, oh, when something's done, it's done, right? They're like, okay, we can watch this. We don't have to go send it off to the VFX team to get it back. Like, we already know how it's going to look and sound. So they may be able to work animated films a little quicker because of that lack of the pipeline's a little shorter. I guess a lot less teams touching it along the way. But honestly, I think if the Authority comes out as an animated movie, that could be interesting as well. I'm going to stop right here because I forgot this, Mike. I didn't include this in here. Warner Brothers has an animated movie coming out next month in December, Lord of the Rings, War of the Rohirrim, and they announced a popcorn bucket this week. And again,
like, what are we doing talking about this stupid Authority? We should be talking about popcorn buckets.
Right. It's a 27-inch Warhammer that has been, like, you open up the hammer, it's the popcorn thing. This thing is huge, Mike. My wife was like, do you want that? I'm like, I don't think I do. But boy, that would make a great wall piece, wouldn't it? Like, it just hanging it up with with everything else you have. But I was thinking about Warner Brothers animated films, but like, yeah, that popcorn bucket.
Honestly, I'm just surprised that an animated movie, which I'm sure it's great. It's Lord of the Rings, you know. The fans are out there, but I don't think anyone's going to go see this movie. I'm sorry. Like, I haven't heard anybody talking about it. This totally feels like something that just goes on Netflix and you forget it exists until, like, maybe some people talk about it in 10 years. But I'm just surprised something like that is getting its own custom popcorn bucket and the biggest one I've ever seen by length.
Yeah.
So maybe this is a good sign that maybe there's going to be a little bit of energy behind the film and get people to the theater.
I have not seen any trailers for it either. So when does that come out? I know it's an anime, and I'm not getting served anime stuff. It is coming out December 13th. So yeah, we're like a couple weeks from it. Like, this and Kraven have not had any trailers. Like, right? So we were talking about, well, I have Kraven at the end of the show, but I'm like, they probably should probably be getting some of that stuff out there. But anyway, it just makes me concerned that if DC does an animated movie, is it a streaming movie? Or is it is like the Authority a theatrical release animated movie, Mike? That's kind of where I was going with this, compared to Lord of the Rings. I don't know. But we're going to jump into, we're going to know in a couple weeks here what the animation to live action looks like, because Creature Commandos is coming out December 5th on Max. So after we get through Thanksgiving, literally the next week, we'll be able to watch at least maybe the first episodes. I don't know if they'll drop them all at once, of Creature Commandos on Max. But in a not surprising but maybe surprising announcement, Alan Tudyk is voicing Clayface in the upcoming series. And I kind of like, man, boy, this feels like deja vu. And it is, because he previously voiced Clayface in the Harley Quinn series on this. But apparently it's not the same Clayface. Like, he's voicing two very different Clayfaces, but he gets to voice at both of them. And that was given to him by James Gunn. And literally just another superhero credit for this actor who has, like, what, a couple dozen superhero movies under his belt / roles.
I mean, Clayface is a great example of a character, of a villain that you really couldn't pull off in Matt Reeves' Batman universe, for better or for worse. So seeing, like, this character being introduced animated in this means James Gunn has promised that these characters will cross over into live action, and it's all one contiguous universe. So that means Alan Tudyk will be, at some point, possibly reprising his role in, like, what was it, like a Batman Brave and the Bold, or what were they calling it?
I love that you're not reading the bullet points, because he will not play the character in the movie that we're going to talk about next. That has been rumored.
See, this is what happens when I'm so zoned into the conversation and not looking at my screen. I got my screen time report this morning, Chris. I don't know if anyone else gets them on Sundays. I think, does everybody get them on Sundays? And mine has skyrocketed in the last couple of weeks. Mine's
down, actually.
Yeah.
Mine's actually the other way, so it's funny. But, like, so Alan Tudyk will voice it, but he will not play the character in the rumored movie that we're going to talk about. So I think if he does come over, it'll be the voice. Maybe he voices the character, like, in the movie and doesn't play it. Maybe there's a different human and he just voices the clay monster version, if that's the one that they go with. But I am excited to see if this person, if they do it, because I'm under the impression, and correct me, I will be corrected or proved right next week, that a lot of the people they fight in Creature Commandos, like the villains, are not going to make it out of this show. Like, they're going to probably kill some people. Like, and I assumed Clayface would be somebody who they'd probably have to off based on a couple clips I saw from the trailer. So if that's true, maybe the movie we see, we'll talk about maybe as a prequel.
Well, I think Clayface is kind of like Groot, right? Yeah. If you just have like one little piece left over in a jar, theoretically they could come back.
That's a great idea. I don't know much about Clayface. I just remember him from Batman the Animated Series, right? The big monster, yellow eyes, glowing eyes, and the weird teeth. So, but Alan Tudyk, I think, again, another good grab, right? He's sounds like a great guy to work with. He's pulling out all these superhero stuff, so good for him. But let's go ahead and talk about the rumored Clayface movie. And this rumor keeps getting more and more people behind it, so it feels like it's real. But Mike Flanagan, known for his spooky shows on Netflix, like Haunting of Hill House, he's got a couple in that series. What's some of the other ones? Midnight Mass.
There's like Bly Manor, and there's a few.
Yeah. So he does all the spooky movies. He apparently pitched a Clayface feature film to James Gunn and Peter Safran in 2023, where he would only be the writer, not the director, because he's working on the Exorcist film, which I think is his next project. And right now, the news is the script is completed and shooting is scheduled for next spring on this movie. And this is from multiple, I guess, scoopers, if you will, reliable ones. And the movie appears to be moving forward in early steps, and the studio's looking for someone in their 20s to play the main character of Clayface here.
Sorry, Alan Tudyk. We need somebody younger, and we need somebody hotter to get melted and turn into Clayface. It's just so crazy that this is all coming together so quickly. Because if you're looking at kind of like the early stages of the MCU as kind of like this analogous universe, like I don't think they've never really done a standalone villain movie, and if they did, it wouldn't have happened like super early. So I'm curious, like how is this supposed to fit in? I mean, I guess if you get Mike Flanagan to work on a project for you, you try to put it through because he's such a talented writer and creator. So you don't want to like turn that script down. But yeah, like does this movie come out before James Gunn's Batman? Because based on this rumored production cycle, we would be getting Clayface before we get Batman, which is really, really wild.
It fits, DC has done villain movies, not DCU, but the DC has done villain movies, right? Joker and Joker 2, as we would, just kind of came out. Venom was kind of an anti-hero. We have Kraven, who's kind of a villain. Like, they're doing these anti-hero movies lately. I'm not saying they're all great. They're not all hits right now. But, James Gunn has said, and Peter Safran, I'm going to group together, that part 1, phase 1 of their stuff is gods and monsters. And this kind of fits in the monsters realm of that, right? Like, if that's what he's kind of shooting for, he's going for things that haven't been done before. Hopefully, Supergirl's been done, Superman's been done, Batman's been done. This would be something kind of out there. But like the fact that it's been so, I guess, unofficially announced is interesting. I know James Gunn was on, I'm pretty sure it was Threads, the other day, saying that they're on the cusp of announcing a bunch of R-rated projects. And maybe this is one of those R-rated projects, maybe with the horror piece of it kind of coming into that. Could you imagine like a body horror film maybe for Clayface rather than something supernatural? I don't know. I don't know what to expect out of this, if I'm going to be completely honest.
Yeah, which is I'm kind of curious too. Like, what is the tone of it? Because that's like the big question, right? Like, what is the tone of this next version of Batman? I mean, it's so, and also like you have this whole other like the stick in the spokes kind of in a good way where like Penguin is like really, really good apparently on Max. Like I keep hearing like just random people say like, oh, Penguin's great, you got to watch it. And it's just like, oh, this is so funny that Gunn is trying to launch this like brand new pristine universe from his mind, but he still has to deal with like these lingering properties that live on the outside, but he can't be too mad because they're good and people are watching them and they're successful. So it's like, oh, what do you do? But I don't know. Maybe I'm curious to see where Clayface fits in.
Yeah, I am as well. And I don't know if it's, obviously Mike Flanagan. He's got a history of horror, supernatural stuff, right? Like that is where he's cut his teeth, and it could be something different. But I imagine a body horror thing as a man, like you mentioned, is melted into like a monster, clay monster, kind of along the way. And how's that play off? So hopefully we get an announcement sooner than later, officially, so we can kind of work on that, because this next project that we're going to talk about is kind of officially announced as well, and that is Sergeant Rock, which is a DC Comics character, and this has not been disputed by anyone. Daniel Craig is in talks to star in this DCU movie as Sergeant Rock himself. I'm going to butcher this last name, Luca Guadagnino, who's done Challengers, Call Me by Your Name, award-winning movies, to helm this adaptation. So it sounds like they've got a director, they got a script. If they're trying to get Daniel Craig, they're probably a little farther than Clayface. So it sounds like Sergeant Rock might be another film they're looking to bring into this world, Mike. And are you familiar with Sergeant Rock?
No, I absolutely not. I'm
Great.
Googling it right now.
Yeah, so
I don't even think I have a visual in my head. Oh, it's just a guy.
Yeah, it's
just a dude.
Yeah, so he's based on Sergeant Rock. Was a comic character created in 1959, and he was the face of DC Comics war books, like the ones that were based in World War II. He's a non-superpowered person, literally, who was in World War II, and that's all he did. Fought Nazis in World War II as a regular person. He had like a series for like 11 years just called Sergeant Rock as well. So he had a big comic following. And I'm unsure if this tied into the DCU at large or possibly Creature Commandos, because Creature Commandos has G.I. Robot, who was a Nazi killing machine created in World War II, who I think some of the synopsis for the show says he has a interaction with the Easy Company, and Easy Company was the company that Sergeant Rock was with. So maybe this character spins out of Creature Commandos, probably voiced by Daniel Craig, or maybe we might be getting some old news on here, I don't know, and then gets a live action movie, so set in like World War II in the DCU era, I guess.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. This all of this news feels very reminiscent of when Chapek was greenlighting just everything. I felt like every week on the podcast just a couple years ago we were talking about a new project being greenlight at Disney Plus. So not saying that's what's happening here, but it does feel very similar.
Well,
like Sergeant Rock is getting a movie. Like, who is this guy?
It's very interesting, because obviously we talked a couple weeks ago, like James was like, well, all the stuff we announced for the first part, it's not necessarily all going to come true, but like all the weird stuff that is on there, and he's not really out here he's really, James Gunn is really active on threads denying things, right? Like he's like, no, this is not true. I didn't say that. No, I didn't say that. I did not say The Flash was the greatest movie of all time. Actually, yes, you did. We have proof of you saying that several places. But he's not out denying Sergeant Rock. So it's very weird that this would be maybe on there. But maybe it's one of those R-rated movies we talked about, right? He said they're on the cusp of announcing R-rated movies. Maybe Sergeant Rock is that. So I don't know. We will keep you posted if anything else comes out of Sergeant Rock in these World War II movies. When are we going to get to the point where World War II movies are no longer what people want to watch, Mike? Do we have to like wait for another generation to pass on before we don't revisit World War II over and over again? Because
I don't know.
I'm not interested in it, and I don't like revisiting it all the time. It's boring. So hopefully we can get out of that phase eventually. Moving on, Teen Titans. Mike, you are a Teen Titans. I'm not as familiar with Teen Titans, but the rumor are that the Teen Titans movie, that it's heavily rumored, will have the same lineup as the animated series, including Robin, we don't know which one, Starfire, Raven, Beast Boy, and Cyborg. Didn't we just have a TV show called Titans on like that Max that just ended, the same characters?
Well, yeah, that's what makes me think if this is true, if this is happening, if you're going to do like a live action like Teen Titans like film, I think you gotta give the people what they want, and that is basically those, what was it, like 2 seasons of that animated Teen Titans show?
The original.
That's what
Young Justice.
Yeah, that's what. That's what everyone's clamoring for. No, not Young Justice. The OG Teen Titans animated show.
The one they kept the same voice actors for Teen Titans Go. Gotcha, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like, just try to adapt. Obviously, you can't do it one for one. Like, I can't imagine James Gunn's universe is going to enable a skyscraper tower on an island in the shape of a letter T. Like, I think that's a little too far out there for realism. But like, give us the dynamics of the characters. Give us the like it's upbeat, it's fun, but it also goes serious with the characters. Like, kind of try to map the personalities a little bit onto some real life actors, and I think that's going to be exciting because the show worked on so many levels because of the quality. And I think if you can find a way to bring that to live action, you'll finally be giving people what they want. I mean, I'm sure I've seen a couple episodes of the live action one that was on the, oh man, I feel like I'm just remembering the fact that there was a DC streaming service.
Yeah.
Which is so funny. Wow, what a different era just a couple years ago existed.
Doom Patrol, which also starred Alan Tudyk.
Yeah, but I mean, these shows were good. Like, there was quality to them, and they had multiple seasons. That doesn't happen in a world if nobody's watching these shows. So it seems like if you had a somewhat successful live action run in series, you make a feature, and then the series was dark. I mean, I think Robin was like taking his shirt off and like banging people. I mean, I don't 100% remember what happened.
Well, he was he was Nightwing by that point, I think. But yeah, they aged him up a little bit.
Yeah, I think you know, that was kind of like, that's like a Snyder version of the Titans. So I think lean into the more of the bright and vibrant Cartoon Network Titans, and you'll be off to the races.
And I think in James Gunn's universe where heroes already exist, I think they can have the T. I think they can do the weird things that were on the show because technically they're not. His universe isn't real, right? They have Superman, they have Ultraman and the Authority and all these other weird things. Green Lanterns are sponsored by corporations. The Creature Commandos. So yeah, do the T. Have some fun with it.
Also, I don't want a neutered Beast Boy, right? I don't want Beast Boy on a TV or even streaming budget. I want that kid to be transforming in and out of animals like 1,000 times on screen. Like every 2 minutes, I want to see a different animal. I want Beast Boy to not know what it's like to be a human anymore and to only be an animal. So yeah,
and
I would like to see that.
Don't humanify him to save on the budget either. Make him green the whole time, right? Yeah. I think we're gonna get some. It's not in here, but they're filming the live action Moana right now, and they have The Rock in his muscle suit or whatever, and he's got to transform into stuff. So if they can do that, take some notes. If they can get the Rock transformed into all the creatures he was doing, maybe apply that here to Teen Titans if it works out. Yeah, this is great. I mean, Teen Titans great. That's awesome. Hopefully they start announcing some stuff. And we do know the Batman, the Brave and the Bold will have not regular Robin, but what's his son's name? Damian Wayne as the Robin. So they could put Dick Grayson in here or whoever else, I guess, along that way as well. Moving on to the Batman 2 coming up eventually, I guess, is rumored to be hit with more delays. Mike, we don't have a real solid grip on when this is filming, but Robert Pattinson has signed on to Christopher Nolan's next movie, which is filming next summer. So, and one of the sources said that, quote, nothing is close to being planned for filming Batman 2 at this time. So, I don't think it has to do with the Penguin. I just think they've not really planned this out enough to be successful. And I feel like people are going to forget the Batman and the Penguin, right? All this time in between all these projects that are successful. Like, wouldn't you want them to be kind of hitting a little closer to each other? I don't know.
Yeah, like I almost wish, like I was about to say, it would be really, really cool if we got a trilogy of Superman movies, and then you finally start to see Batman, right? I mean, Batman is probably the most screen-timed superhero out there in features. Like maybe, I mean, Spider-Man could be kind of beating him at this point in time, but there's been so many minutes of big screen Batman out there. It would just be cool to have like this big lull of Batman, which also David Zaslav would never allow. He needs as much Batman money as possible. We get a trilogy of Superman movies, and suddenly, like, holy crap, finally Batman is back. We are doing him right. It's going to be crazy. But you have this Robert Pattinson Batman floating around out there that's kind of not going to allow us to do that. But it would be kind of interesting to be like, hey, let's lean into Superman, maybe the most iconic superhero of all time. And then once we kind of earn the audience's trust, we bring Batman into the fold.
Yeah.
You have all this hope and optimism of a Superman trilogy, and then you bring in like this dark brooding Batman to bring it all down into the sewers. But I don't think that's going to happen. But I do like the idea of like, oh, what if maybe the DCU Phase 1 didn't have a Batman in it? That would be kind of wild to think about, right?
Yeah. Well, they've already announced that one, so I guess that's that kind of out the gate. But I would like them. They don't have to interact. Maybe that's the best part, right? Like literally just, Gotham and Metropolis can be two separate cities where they don't have to like not across a bay from each other like in Zack Snyder stuff. Maybe they had some other stuff like that. So I agree. I think there's some opportunities to do different things. They don't need to rush it. They don't need to bring them all together. I'm trying to literally pull up screen time for superheroes, Mike, while you were talking about that, because I think that's actually an interesting fact to look at. But all I can find is like MCU stuff, rather than like complete like screen time. So I think that would be something that maybe we want to.
Well, because we have 6 Spider-Man movies. No, 7, 8 Spider-Man movies. And then on top of that, you have
Avengers
Spider-Man appearing in Civil War,
Infinity War,
2 Avengers movies. So that's 11 movies Spider-Man has been in. And then I guess technically you have to count Spider-Verse, both of those. So that's 13 Spider-Man films. And, that could be rivaling where Batman is at
Superman
right now.
Had
actually
4 movies before we even came into Superman, right? With Christopher Reeves, and then he had Returns and all the Snyder stuff. And I think there might have been some from like the 50s or 60s or something like that. Spider-Man, do we count his TV show, his live action TV show as well for live action?
I am only counting theatrical big screen stuff.
Okay, perfect. Batman had 4 movies, then 3 other movies. So he had the first 4, starting with the Burton 4. Then we had the Christopher Nolan 3, and then we had Zack Snyder's 2. So possibly, yeah. Did what's his name? The 60s Batman? Did he have he had a movie? I'm pretty sure as well, one movie. But yeah, I don't know. Is Iron Man in that now? Because technically Tony Stark was in how many movies?
Now, this is another question. If you actually got like a sample size of the globe together and you did like a survey of like who is the most iconic, like, there's a chance like Iron Man maybe could be at the top just because it's so recent. But
yeah, I don't know. It'd be interesting.
Anyway,
to take a look
it's just it is a great. The ethos is DC has some of the most iconic superheroes of all time that have been misused in the last decade. So we're hoping that turns around.
Yeah. And, honestly, if they want to wrap up their Elseworlds and only focus on one universe, they should go ahead and prioritize Matt Reeves in his work, right? Like, get it done. Let him do what he needs to do. It's been successful. Finish it up and go down that road. I think would be great. Shifting into Marvel for a little bit here, I've got an image for you, Mike, to look at. Pedro Pascal's filming Fantastic Four, and he was out signing some autographs with fans, and they're really showcasing his gray temples. He's got that dye in his hair. They're not just popping a wig on him. Looks like they're using his real hair and dyeing it gray for the movie. And I thought that was pretty interesting. And he's got his Fantastic Four blue pants on that looks like he'll be wearing as well.
Yeah, that's America's ass right there.
Yep.
Telling you, Marvel likes putting their lead males in those tiny little blue pants.
Yep.
That's for sure.
They do. So I'm excited for, again, we talked about Fantastic Four. Hopefully we get an official trailer coming up here, because technically that's out next July. So maybe they'll give us some teasers leading up to the Super Bowl, which is here in just 2 months or so. Very, 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 very quick news on that one. So we're going to shift gears into Deadpool and Wolverine yet again. Ryan Reynolds posted a video to Twitter and some other things. No audio at all. You're not going crazy. You can't turn the volume up. It's snowing. He's showing off a Christmas set behind him. So Christmas sleigh, some blue screen. He's in the Deadpool suit. We saw him behind the scenes with Blind Al and some Christmas decorations a month ago now. And that only his video with Blind Al turned out to be the popcorn bucket gag saying, hey, it's now on streaming. There wasn't Christmas stuff. So it looks like we're going to be getting a holiday, maybe a special, a couple scenes, a couple teasers. I don't know. For this is a very interesting tease that we have no details for.
I mean, it's a fun format. I don't know if you ever watched the Deadpool holiday
Once Upon a Deadpool
version of. Yeah, I never saw it, but it's like a PG-13 version of the movie, right?
Yeah,
that's kind of like the way that they were able to edit it.
Yeah, they came in, they filmed scenes with Fred Savage to kind of set it up, kind of like a what's that one movie, Princess Bride scenario.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I've seen the extra scenes, but I didn't watch the entire movie because
it's a clever way to neuter a movie, right? Because like the spirit of these movies is that they're just like hyper adult in a way. Like that's kind of the DNA of the character of Deadpool. So it does feel very disingenuous to be like, oh, let's chop this up just so we can air it on TNT on the weekends.
Yeah.
But if you do it under the guise of like a holiday special, it's a clever way to get it done. And also, you always get brownie points if you go back and turn a camera back on, right? If you're filming additional things, at least you're giving people something new, even if it's only like a couple days of shooting.
Yeah. Well,
it's appreciated.
And maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's like, hey, for Christmas we're releasing a PG-13 version of Deadpool and Wolverine that you can watch on Disney Plus with your family, kind of thing, right? Like it easily could be not in the same guise, but like, hey, we're gonna add a couple scenes and you got to choose the version on Disney Plus because a lot of people watch this movie. It made so much money. So many people have seen it. Why would you not spend a little extra time to, like you said, neuter it, cut it down a bit, and get it in front of more eyeballs at a younger age?
It's so funny. I just keep imagining, there's kids out there who grow up with the MCU when they're young, and they see this character of Deadpool. It's not like they can avoid the marketing. They see the marketing, like, oh, I want to see this movie, but the parents are like, no, you cannot see this movie. But, oh, you can watch this holiday version of it. Yeah. So there's going to be a whole generation of kids out there that only know of Deadpool from these holiday specials. And then once they're old enough and like one night they're just like scrolling through their favorite streaming service and they see this other version of Deadpool, they're going to be like, what? Oh my God. It's going to be like a shock to the system. Like I want to see reaction videos in 10 years where these kids grow up and they're seeing unedited Deadpool.
I think that's going to be a very minor group of kids based on the people I know who are parents. They were like 9-10-year-olds. They were like, yeah, we'll take them. I mean, it's not like it's not a brutal movie. It's not like a sex involved scene. Like, yeah, they drop a couple F words and, a couple vulgar things, but it's mostly just like the brutality of it. Right. And most of these kids are playing Fortnite, so they're fine. They'll be all right. They'll come out ahead in the long run, but I'm interested to see what this is. They are teasing us. They are really teasing us. They are keeping our eyes on Deadpool and Wolverine through Oscar season, or Academy Award season. So that's what they really want. So it's working. Moving on to the Young Avengers. It is rumored to be retitled as Champions going forward because the actors are no longer young. I think that makes sense. And plus, Avengers movies are more event films. They don't need to call them Avengers. They could just call them Champions, which was literally a comic series comprised of like a very similar group of members in Marvel. So yes, they can be the champions and, have Miss Marvel and, whatever. But the biggest news would be they actually showed a team up of these champions / Young Avengers on a Disney Cruise Line this week, which was a scene including America Chavez, Cassie Lang, and Riri Williams. So apparently if you're dining, they show clips, you make it interactive, and they had some video footage of these characters together doing superhero stuff on the cruise. I've not experienced the cruises. I think I'd love to try it once to see what it's like to have the interactive.
Yeah, they're full-fledged. They just christened a new ship, the Disney Treasure, I believe, and at D23 earlier this year, they announced like a bunch of like brand new cruise ships, which is just crazy to be like, oh, we're announcing a gigantic floating structure in the ocean and a couple of them. It's just really funny and abstract to me. But yeah, the Avengers seem to be showing up on all of these boats, which means that we might be getting like more of these like fun little clips together. Like if you go on YouTube, you can kind of find people that have uploaded the whole like visual experience of like the Marvel
Yeah.
dining, and it's like a thing. Like there was like a whole production. There was VFX houses that like worked on like these, I think, Ultron bots that are like
Yeah,
attacking.
the one of
And
them was Ultron. They had like Sam Wilson and like Captain Marvel and a couple other big name actors at post Infinity War who were still active. Yeah,
yeah, and I just think that's cool. You could have just stopped at like throwing somebody in the Ant-Man suit
yeah,
and eaten small and big foods, and you could have
like the
ended it there,
park.
but no, they had a whole. Yeah, exactly. But they have a whole like video
Yeah,
presentation as well. I think that's
and
cool.
it's like
But
a custom
when
story.
when I s-
It adds to it.
when I see the title champions, I mean, I just think of like in the trailer for Thunderbolts, you see like David Harbour like screaming like, "Where are the Thunderbolts?"
Yeah,
So like I'm just wondering like how do you work the title of champions in there? Because you can very easily say Avengers in the MCU now. It's not a weird like team name that you have
right.
that comes up in
It's not
conversation.
sacred.
But like, well, where are they coming up with champions? Is this
Yeah.
going to be like all of the quote unquote kids sit down at the table and be like, we need a name.
Huh.
Oh, we should call ourselves the Young Avengers. Like, no, that's
I,
dumb. What
well,
else?
well, I don't
I could
think.
see a conversation like that going.
I don't think they're gonna sit down. No one of these people ever sit down like, what do we call ourselves? So I think thinking that route
Chris,
is
they're
not how they're gonna
literally
go.
setting down
Yeah,
in
no,
the footage
yeah.
that we have seen for
But
this.
it could be
So
like
I
Marvel's
think they will.
Champions or Champions Young Avengers. They could use a subtitle, as well. But they probably will. They won't just call it Champions. I feel because like that's it's a lot like Thunderbolts, but it's Marvel's Thunderbolts. I don't know how they're gonna do it. We haven't even got this officially announced yet, but it sounds like they're working towards it. And a little bit, to that is we always talked about the new Hawkeye. I forget her name. Um, boy, I'm drawing a blank on her name. Whatever the new Hawkeye is, Kate Bishop. Hawkeye season 2 is looking to film fall 2025 for a 2026 release. So it looks like we're gonna get that season 2, follow up with Kate Bishop and kind of move her into the Champions Young Avengers proper. With that because obviously, what's his name, Jeremy Renner. Yeah, he almost got killed by that snowmobile a year or two ago, so he's probably not looking to do a whole lot of action scenes. So transition him out and her in, and it sounds like they're looking to get a season 2. I think that show deserves season 2. I think that would be a good one to get a season 2 along the way. So hopefully we get some
I
official announcement for that.
The only thing I ask for is I want to see some sort of lore continuation of Rogers the musical.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe by the time season 2 comes out, in the MCU, Rogers the musical will be so successful that it will be turned into like a feature film or something
It's
like
like
that.
Wicked,
And
literally like
those
Wicked that
gags
we
could
talked
be,
at the beginning of this. Like
yeah,
they filmed
exactly.
it. Yeah.
That could be like playing in the background or something. That'd
Yeah.
be funny.
That would be an awesome special presentation from Marvel and Disney Plus where they film like a 30-minute Rogers the musical, and they actually
Yeah, I
release
mean,
it.
it was in the park. It was
Mhm.
in California Adventure
Yeah.
for like a summer. I'm sure they filmed it
Yeah,
in some official capacity.
right. And they should release it. I think it'd be great. Give it the Hamilton approach right along the way. So, yeah, absolutely. So Hawkeye, come on. We'll see Kate Bishop join the Champions. One of the last bits here, we have a small clip. It was not really a trailer, but it's a small clip of Kraven the Hunter, which comes out literally in 2 weeks, and I've not seen any other trailers since then. But it shows him being given what Mike says is a clear liquid, what I think is a green liquid, after a lion attack. Are they retconning the magic blood, Mike? Are they just saying, we're going to give him this liquid that gives him abilities, which is maybe similar to like a pre-Rhino serum that gives him his Kraven powers? Because the
Yeah,
first
it feels
trailer was magic blood. It was straight magic blood from the lion.
Yeah, I'm curious, like, is this just going to be like a vial that is a MacGuffin in the movie? Are people going to be looking for this kind of like super soldier serum in a way, and that's going to be driving the plot? Or is this like, since like the Craven family has its own lineage, they're like this historical family of like hunters and everything, and I think there's like a father-son dynamic going on in the movie.
Russell Crowe,
Maybe this is just
Gladiator himself, as the father.
exactly. Maybe this is just something that they have, or something that they've tweaked over the years, and they just use it there to save. I don't know,
Well,
but yeah, we before we thought it was gonna be magic lion blood, and now it's like some sort of
just
mysterious
yeah.
vial.
I think it's gonna have to do with the rhino. The guy who transforms himself into a rhino, he's probably like, I'm gonna recreate this for us. This was a one-time thing. This is the one vial we had. It saved him, yes, turned him into some sort of magical man, and now we want to redo it, and he somehow gives himself Rhino transforming powers along the way. I am so excited to watch this because I care so little about it, Mike. Like, I'm going to be going to the bar in the theater, get me a big drink, maybe even splurge and get me one of them all beef hot dogs from the stands, and just kicking back and just not.
Maybe they'll do a Kraven themed drink, and it'll be all about this vial. You'll have the chance to buy a souvenir cup that looks like the vial, and it'll be $35.
If they come back and surprise me with a very, very creative popcorn bucket or hot dog holder, mind you, maybe it's the Rhino, his face, we get to use it as like a popcorn bucket. I don't know. If they surprise me, yeah, maybe it'll save it a little bit. But I'm just looking, and part of my language, I don't give a fuck about this movie, Mike. I know you don't either. So I'm looking to just go enjoy a movie experience, being in the theater for a little bit, and seeing what we get out of this, because I have no, I guess, as we said, we know stakes in this. If it's bad, we were right. If it's good, we like to be pleasantly surprised. So at this point, we are not really missing out with this movie. But coming out December 11th, I'm pretty sure tickets are probably available. But we all know you're going to go see Gladiator, Wicked, or Moana this week instead. So we'll see how it goes. Lastly, I just want to put this in here because this week is literally Thanksgiving, and the holidays come and go so quickly over the next month. I feel like every weekend is booked until 2025 at this rate. But Skeleton Crew is debuting December 3rd on Disney Plus. So for those of you who want to catch up on Star Wars, check out this Goonies version of Star Wars. It's going to be coming out December 3rd, so not this week, but after Thanksgiving. When you're back on your regular schedule, it's gonna be great. It looks fun. I watched a little clip where the kids find the I guess the droid of this series. We talked about Smee SM-33, and they have to convince him that they've killed the other captain, so that now that they're the captain. And it was a fun little thing, something you would see in like Goonies or a Stand By Me film, right, of that era. So it's really fun. So I'm excited to kind of see what that looks like as well. So we kind of get forward. So just a little PSA for people who are doing that, because Mike, you may know this. I don't know if you're caught up, but our last Great British Bake Off episode is this week. So we're gonna need new content to get into after this week wraps up. So, but yeah, that's the show. Pretty straightforward, Mike. This is, again, people are like, oh my gosh, you guys made it to 500. How are you doing it? Well, we just do it like we did every other week for the past 10 years. Just show up and
consistency. You just grind yourself into the ground every single week.
That's right.
And you have a fine, delicious paste.
That's right. One day they'll train AI on us, and we won't have to do this anymore, and we'll just get the royalties. But Mike, if people want to know what you're up to, what you're doing, where can they find you at, sir?
Yes, they can find me and all of my webcomics at pickledcomics.com and liferewardsrisk.com. Chris, if people want to catch up with you, where can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram, Valdan87, VALDAN, or Video Game Systems of the same name. If people want to know more about the show, what we're doing, how they can go listen to a history of episodes, a back catalog like no other, where can they get all them goodies?
Yes, all you have to do is head on over to superheroslate.com. It's the best place to find everywhere we host our show, to get our awesome show notes, to look at our upcoming release calendar. If you're curious to see what's dropping in 2025, we got an upcoming release calendar over there that you can check out. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, wherever else you love listening to podcasts. We're there. You can get merch at superheroslate.com/store. We love hearing from you. Reach out. Let us know what you're excited for, what you're not excited for. Chris was talking about how his wife bought all of these tickets. He never revealed what the third set of tickets were, so I can only assume it was for Kraven. So if you are like Chris's wife and also pre-bought your Kraven tickets, I want to hear from you.
I don't get a lump of coal for Christmas for misbehaving. I get Kraven tickets instead. So
and you have to go,
and I have to.
You don't want to waste the money.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes, but if you want to be a super fan of Superhero Slate, so easy to do. All you have to do is share the show with a friend, share the show with a buddy, and we will be here every week, folks.
That's right.